Tutorial 1, this chapter goes over sub-procedures and procedure level, and let's go right to the page where it starts the application. Programming Tutorial 1. In this tutorial, code and application for Tri-County Electrical Company. Figure 8, 26, and 27 show the application's tow chart and main form. And the main form contains a group box, 2 radio buttons, 2 text boxes, 6 labels, and 2 buttons. The interface allows the user to enter 3 items of data: the rate code, the previous meter reading, and current meter reading. And when the user clicks the calculate button, the button's click event should verify the current meter reading is greater than or equal to the previous meter reading. If it is, the application should both calculate and display the number of electrical units used during the month and the total charge. The total charge is based on the number of units used and the rate code. Residential customers are charged 0.09 cents per unit with a minimum charge of $17.65. Commercial customers are charged 0.11 cents per unit with a minimum charge of $21.75. If the current meter reading is less than previous meter reading, the application should display an appropriate message. So here's the tow chart and the objects and the event. So you've got, for the exit button, it exits the application in the click event. 2 radio buttons, residential and commercial. No event for this one. It gets the rate code. Get and display the current meter reading from previous meter reading. Current text box and previous text box. None on the event for this one. Select the existing text. Current text box, previous text box. Enter event on this one. Allow only numbers and backspace key. Same text boxes. Key press for that event. And clear usage label and total label. Current text box and previous text box. Residential button, commercial radio button, and calc button. For the current text box and previous text box is text change. Anytime they change the text, it's going to clear the labels. When they click the residential or commercial button or radio button, click event, it's going to clear the labels as well. Or they calculate to clear the label. And then the usage label displays monthly usage from calc button. So first you determine whether the current meter reading is greater than or equal to the previous. If necessary, calculate the monthly usage and total charge, and then display the result in a usage label and total label. If necessary, display the current reading. The current reading must be greater than or equal to the previous reading, message, and message box. So let's look at the code here. We'll start the interface. Here's the interface for the Tri-County. You got your rate codes for residential or commercial, previous reading, current reading, 2 labels, and calculate and exit. Alright. This right here is a group box, which is used a lot of times for radio buttons to group things, to group them together. Remember, radio buttons, they're going to have to be used. One or the other could be selected. Not both can be selected, only one or the other on a radio button. Multiple labels and 2 text boxes and 2 buttons. So upon loading of this application, I'm clicking on the blue bar here, goes to the underscore load. Nothing is loading upon the load of the application. When the user enters in a previous meter reading and current meter reading, clicks calculate, here's where the calculation begins. We're dimming 4 variables. Dim previous is integer, current is integer, usage is integer, and total is double. Do a try parse on the 2 text boxes, previous and current. For previous, variable would be tied to the previous text box, current variable tied to the current text box. So if current is greater than or equal to previous, then usage equals current minus previous. If residential, radio box is checked, it's true, then it's going to call the function call residential total, and it's going to pass the usage and total variables to that function. Else, it's going to get commercial total usage with the usage variable passed and plug it into total. And then it's going to put in the usage label and total label the usage and total label information. Else, if current is not greater or equal to previous, it's going to kick a message box out that says the current meter reading must be greater than or equal to the previous meter reading, and for the title, Tri-County Electricity, OK button, and information icon. So let's go ahead and go to the first function. To go to functions within VB, if you have one already created, you just right click on the function name and you can say go to definition. It'll go right to that definition function or sub in this case. And so we've got a private sub calc residential total. By val units is integer, by val charge is double. These are both required values when you call this sub. It calculates the total charge for the residential customer by bringing in units and charge. So here we have const unit charges double 0.9, min fee 17.65. So charge, which is a double here, equals units, which is brought in here, times unit charge, which is a constant. If charge is less than min fee, then charge equals min fee. Okay? So the value ending up on this one will be the charge value. So let's go to the next one here. Which is get commercial total usage. It brings in units only, 2 constants for unit charge and min fee. Unit charge is 0.12, min fee is 21.75, charge is double. Charge equals units times unit charge. If charge is less than min fee, charge becomes min fee. And then it returns a value here for this function. Functions always return a value, unlike a sub, which was here. Subs do not return a value, but functions do. Okay, so if it was residential, sub here does not return a value what it's going to do is actually going to use the value charge is going to be used when it's called so this is actually called by reference, and this one actually is return by reference, and the reference in this case would be the word get commercial total as double. It's going to return that in the function. This one's actually going to be returning a variable value charge after it's finished here at the bottom of the function sub. So let's go back to the code here for the calc button. So if I go ahead and put a breakpoint here on this if line, let's run the application. I'll keep it residential, 500 previous. We'll try to do lower to see what happens. Okay, it's got the breakpoint. Hit the breakpoint. Current reader must be greater than or equal to the previous reading. So I got the else path here. So I'll change that to 700. Step through. So use current minus previous 200. Residential button is radio button is checked, so it'll go to the call residential total. Right now, usage is 200, total is 0.0 because we've just declared it here, and we're passing a 0.0 right now. Let's go ahead and go to that. Sub, units, 200, charge, 0.0. Let's step into it. Right now charge is 0, units is 200, and unit charge is 0.9 because of this constant here. So if I go step through here, charge is now 18.0. Total should have changed to 18.0 as well, which it did. So now usage 200. Total 18. And so it's going to be $18 for the total label. Usage label is going to be 200. Go all the way through. So there's the monthly usage and the dollar amount for the total charge. If I was to click on radio button for commercial, you'll notice the two labels are cleared, and now I can calculate again. This time it's going to go to the else path, go to get commercial. It's only going to be going to send the function the usage because that's the only one that's declared. The difference, remember, with the function is going to return a value, and charge is going to be the value it's going to turn, and returning after the word return is the value that the function type is going to be returned as. Function type in this one is double. So it's a function get commercial total as double. There's a 24. And now we have the totals kicked into that. Alright. Well, let's break it down here. Starting at the top, we went over the calc residential total, private sub calc residential total, which is a sub procedure that returns by value. or sends a by value and returns by reference the word charge by using the call statement. And so in the code, it used call calc residential total, and it's going to bring back by reference the word total, the value total at the end. And then the function get commercial total is a double. It's going to return charge as a double. A couple other things to note. The select text area we'll go over in just a second, but I want to mention the cancel keys and the select text both. We're using here a couple handles in VB. Every object has a handle for the object type. In this case, for select text, the handle current text box enter event and the previous text box enter event. And as soon as the user enters the text box of that object, it's going to, on this line, dim this text box with a text box, do a try cast of the text that was sent, and then select all. So run the text here and say I'll enter in 300, 500, go back. There we go. It selects all the text in there. It does have cancel keys as well. If the character is less than 0, greater than 9. So if I try to put like the letter A in here, it doesn't let me. Any letters, characters, symbols, it'll only let me put in actual numeric values. And then clear labels is fired here on the handles. Text changed for current text box and previous text box. So if I go ahead and put in here a calculation, change the radio buttons, you notice they clear now after I change the radio button. Put my mouse in the code. Hitting calculate, changing radio button now clears it. So these three subs, the select text, cancel keys, and clear labels, is using, all of them are using handle for the events or the object events to do something. In the first one, it's selecting the text of current text box and previous text box when the user begins typing in the text box. Cancel keys, as a user types, it's going to check every time key press on your keyboard. Key press is pressed for those keys on your keyboard. If the keys on your keyboard are less than 0 or greater than 9, and also the key is not equal to a backspace, then this E handle true means it's going to basically stop the number or letter or character, not the number, but the letter or characters from being entered in. Clear label. This is going to be fired every time the radio button are clicked. Then lastly, exiting the application with the application.exit as always, and making sure and updating your project information at the top of the code. And if you do add more information this week to the application, more bells and whistles or pictures or other objects or items within here, calculations, please note it in the message